Hi, today I'm going to discuss direct advertising versus indirect advertising. I want to talk about why I think indirect advertising is not effective for people in the service business, in particular repair service businesses, and why it's effective for other larger companies that sell commodities that people want opposed to services that people need on an as-needed basis. And I'm going to start with an example from Disney World. So a lot of the times I have these ideas in my head and I know why I make the decisions I do. It just doesn't come out in the words until an event occurs that really puts it together for me. There are times when I talk to somebody, or I go to an event, or I see a show, or I listen to somebody else recite to me their own story of failure, and then I realize why I think the way I do and why I act the way I do. And this complete fail on the part of Chevy at Disney World really hammered home why I hate indirect advertising when it comes to this field. So, we went to Disney World a couple of days ago. And the reason we went to Disney World is because we reached a point where we were all so completely overworked and losing our mind that just a weekend where it was like screw laptops, screw cell phones, screw answering the phone for customers, screw soldering, screw all of this crap was exactly what we needed. So we decided to leave, and for a weekend we had somebody else watch the store so that we could go on roller coasters and we could go to overpriced restaurants and we can eat crappy food at the airport and just do what people do while they're on vacation and enjoy the pool and enjoy the weather and enjoy the parks and everything. And we go to Epcot, and at Epcot they have a ride called Test Track. Now this looked like a cool ride because you could see people screaming as they were going around the side of a building or a mountain or something outside really fast, and it looked cool. And that's why a lot of the people who were outside were walking into the ride. Now, Test Track is a ride that's sponsored by Chevy. So when you walk into the ride, you see a Chevy concept car that people looked at for about 5 seconds, but we want to go on the ride. Fuck this shit. Then you see a bunch of plasma TVs showing all the benefits of Chevy cars, and you see the Chevy logo everywhere, and I get that. If Chevy is sponsoring the ride, if Chevy spent money to be here, by all means, do your advertising. Then we get to the point where they allow us to build a Chevy concept car. Half of the people are doing it, half of the people are like, just hitting anything on the screen. We're really just killing time before we get to go on the ride. Because again, people are not here to see Chevy advertisements. We're here to get shot around and hurled around at 60 miles an hour and feel sick and feel awesome afterwards. That's what people go on a roller coaster or a ride for. Now, we get to the end of the ride, and we had our fun, and it was great, and they leave you off in a gift shop. One of the things you'll notice about Disney World is you always get left off in a gift shop that's semi-related to the ride that you went on. And I respect that. That's how they make money. Selling these little $40 and $50 Pikachu dolls and things of that nature, I understand that this is how you make money. And it's also kind of cool so that you or your kids or whatever, if you spend $2,000 or $5,000 in a Disney World vacation, you buy this little $30 or $40 thing that they probably spent 50 cents on, you bring it home, and now you have a memory of your vacation. All of this makes perfect sense to me. The problem with this ride is they don't leave you off in a gift shop. They leave you off in a Chevy dealership, which is complete crap. The reason is this. You're leaving me off in a dealership where somebody with a little Chevy shirt is going to walk up to me and ask me if I like what I see, and then I see a fucking... I don't even know what he was talking about. I thought he was talking about the ride. He was talking about the price tag on the $45,000 SUV that was sitting in front of me that I could have actually bought there. And this is what made me sick. This is what truly made me sick. You see, I'm in Disney World to get away from work. I'm in Disney World to get away from making major life decisions. I don't want to think about buying a car right now. I don't want to think about the financial ramifications of buying a $45,000 car right now. I don't want to think about whether this is the right car to buy for me. I don't want to have to do the research right now to figure out if this is the perfect car for me. I don't want to think about what I'm going to do with my old one. I don't want to think, period. I want to be tossed around on rides. I want to eat at funny restaurants, and I want to... Yeah, that's pretty much it. Fireworks and rides. That's why I went on vacation. Most grown-up adults who go on vacation don't go on vacation to make major life decisions. We go on vacation to get away from major life decisions. And what you're doing after I get off this ride is put me in a room where I am faced with a major life decision if I choose to go ahead with this. Because, again, if you're watching this and you're rich enough that a $45,000 car is that's just what's in your back pocket today, then, by all means, laugh at me. But for most people, the decision to buy a $45,000 car is something they have to think about and plan, and just not something that you do. Oh, I just got off this roller coaster that made me feel like I want to puke. Let me buy a $45,000 car. And the thing, this really drove home why I don't like indirect advertising. Indirect advertising puts your product in front of people who don't want it. At least with direct advertising. And direct advertising can be seen as Google AdWords, where you're only put in front of people who search for your product or service. It could be seen as Craigslist ads, where people search for a laptop repair and they're put in front of laptop repair, or, you know, tattoo artists and they're put in front of tattoo artists. That's direct advertising. So your service may not be perfect for them, and the customer may not even like what you offer, but at the very least you have a fighting chance of getting their business because you're being put in front of people who actually want what you offer. But when you leave me off in a fucking Chevy dealership when I'm on vacation and ask what I think of a $45,000 SUV, I just want to beat you on the floor and run you over with the damn thing, because that's what I think of it. That is not why I am here. I am not here to buy a car. And it's annoying, and it really is annoying when you are put in front of indirect advertising on a regular basis. The thing with direct advertising, again, you're being put in front of people who may actually have a chance of spending money with you. With indirect advertising, you are in a regular basis paying a higher money for higher exposure. So let's say, you know, you have a commercial or you have a billboard or you're put in a school newspaper, you're paying a lot more, maybe $500 or $1,000 or $5,000 for this, but you're paying to be put in front of a lot of people who have no need for you. And that's not something that I find valuable. That's why every time the Village Voice calls me and says, "Hey, are you ready to put an ad in yet?" I say no, and I hang up, because they don't understand where I'm coming from. They say, "Yeah, you're missing out on a lot of people who may want to use you," but yes, I'm missing out on spending $600 for a couple of months of being put in front of a ton of people who may not even own a laptop. Like, why would I want to do that when I could put that exact same amount of money into AdWords and know that that's going to bring me $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 in revenue? It doesn't make sense. Indirect advertising makes sense for a specific kind of business. It makes sense for a business that sells luxuries, things that people may want. For example, Coca-Cola. This makes sense. I see Coca-Cola in a commercial. I see Coca-Cola in a newspaper. I see Coca-Cola on a billboard. I see Coca-Cola on a telephone pole. When I have a craving for a soda, right as I'm walking by a deli, I may say, this thing's been, in my mind and beaten in my mind every single day for the past 20 years of my life. Let me get a Coca-Cola. That's how that works, because that is something where it's something that I may want. With product or service-based businesses like what we have, nobody wants us. Truly, nobody wants what we have to offer. Nobody cares what we have to offer, and nobody ever wants to walk in here. In a perfect world, I'd be broke. In a perfect world, I would never have to pick this up because nothing would ever break and nobody would ever need me. That's a perfect world. And, people don't just go, "Oh, well, I saw this ad for Rossman Repair. Let me just walk in and get my PP Bus G3 Hot Short to ground taken care of because I feel like that right now." No, it doesn't matter how much you put yourself in front of other people. If they don't need what it is you're offering at that time, you're just going to get ignored. They're not going to care. What people do when they need this type of service is they search, they ask friends, and then they search online, and then they find what works for them. 99% of the time, if somebody has a broken hinge, they may Google like HP laptop broken hinge or laptop repair NYC or something, and they just click the first thing that shows up that has good ratings, and they go to you. Some people may not care about the first result. They may actually read through the sites of these different places, but they're not looking at it. They're not remembering a billboard that they saw, 6 months ago while they were driving down the I-95. That's not how this works. And you need to understand that paying money should only be something that you do in advertising when you know you are putting yourself in front of people who actually need what it is you offer. Again, this is not a service where people want it. This is a service that people need. There's a big difference. And the other thing that you need to think about when it comes to indirect advertising, again, is how at the best case scenario, you're being put in front of people who may not need your service. And the worst case scenario, you're actively pissing them off. Has anybody here been watching a TV show where they got the heart racing and everything, like 24, and they're just about to watch and see if Jack catches and kills Tony, and Tony is moving like this, and he's right about to kill Alan Wilson, and he's moving like as slow as he can, and the screen goes black and you see a commercial for Coca-Cola. I don't even like soda. I don't want soda. Or there's a commercial for medicine. I don't need medicine to go to sleep. I don't even want NyQuil. But now, not only are you showing me something that I don't like, but now this crap is being put in between me and figuring out if Tony kills the terrorist. Now I hate you. Now you may offer a good product. Your soda may be the best in the world. Your NyQuil may be the best medicine in the world. And I still hate you because you got in the way of my TV show. You got in the way of what I was reading in the newspaper. I thought I was going to have to flip the page once, but now because of your full page ad, I got to flip the page twice, and maybe I get a paper cut, and I associate that paper cut with what you were trying to sell me. And that is just annoying. So what you have to think about with indirect versus direct advertising, with advertising in school bulletins and advertising in the paper, what are people reading the paper for? They may be reading the paper because they saw the cover and they're interested in, who Kim Kardashian is dating after she dumped Kanye or something like that. They want to get to that as fast as they can and then throw it away. They don't care about your ad. You have to think about at school, the first day of school when you get that big set of bulletins, what are the concerns that the students have? Are the concerns that the students have, where am I going to go to get the top quality iPhone repair when my phone that's not even broken breaks? No. They're not even thinking about their phone breaking. What they're thinking about is, oh, does the guy sitting next to me think that I'm cute? Oh, am I going to pass this class? Oh, that professor's a dick. Oh, crap, I forgot to fill out this financial aid form. Do I still qualify to get discounted textbooks? They're thinking about all this stuff. And you actually think that when you pay $1,000 to be in this bulletin in NYU that people are actually going to look at it and care? You are the last thing on their mind. Again, you need to spend money on marketing where you put yourself in front of customers at the point when they are actually looking for you, at the point when they actually need you. You don't need to be putting money into billboards. You don't need to be putting money into just any of this silly crap. I've seen people on eBay selling portions of their body for $5,000 where you can tattoo your business name on them. Just all sorts of silly forms of indirect advertising that, in my opinion, are terrible. And one of the ways you can figure out what type of advertising may work best for you is talk to your customers. So while you're doing the repair, how did you find us? What made you choose us over this other place? Why didn't you go to this place if you know that there's a competitor that gets more business than you? Why didn't you go to Best Buy? Why didn't you go to, iFix, iPhone, iPod, iMac, or whatever, all these businesses have these silly names that start with I nowadays. Why didn't you go to this place? What made us stand out? And then there are a lot of times where people say, I almost didn't find you, or I almost went there, but I saw this. And then I go, well, in the beginning, where'd you look? That's a place that I should be posting then. Figure out where the people that you want to have as your customers, figure out where the people who actually have broken stuff that are willing to pay you to fix it are looking, and then invest in those places. Invest in what is actually going to return you money. So for myself, I make sure that I have a good Yelp presence. I make sure that I have a good Google Places presence. I make sure that when you Google us, that we show up on Google. I make sure that we show up on web forums because I'm posting on certain common web forums so that people know that I know what I'm doing. I have this YouTube channel so that, when I'm showing you how to do certain things, it also in some way reinforces that I'm actually kind of good at what I do, which is a good form of advertising because people are going to say, hey, why don't you want to send stuff here? Figure out how it is people find you. Figure out what they value and market to them accordingly. Don't just put an ad in the newspaper and hope that that's going to bring you business. That was what brought you business in 1955. That doesn't work in 2014.